Phar Kim Beng. He's the CEO and founder of Strategic Pan Indo-Pacific Arena, and he joins me now from the Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur. Phar, good to have you on the show. All right, I want to read out to you a reaction from one social activist after this ruling by the Indian Supreme Court. It says the highest court of justice in India has set aside everything. They have set aside the constitution, they have set aside democracy, the rule of law, and they have favored the majoritarianism, and they have favored Narendra Modi. What is your take on the decision by the Indian Supreme Court?
Well, first of all, I'm not an expert on the legal system of India, but having said so, I think within the context of the war right now, everyone is afraid of larger powers annexing territories that do not belong to them. So does this fall under the case of this paradigm or this movement? Because you hear of Ukraine being, or parts of Ukraine being annexed by Russia. You also have what is happening right now in Gaza and West Bank, where there is a likelihood of those territories being absorbed by Israel in a de jure or even de facto manner. You also have Venezuela trying to take over certain sections of Guyana. So within that context, I think what is happening right now in India may actually convey that fear that, wow, there we go again. Another country is trying to annex two of the largest and most strategic territories north of India, and not that far away from China too.
All right, you gave a couple of examples. When you look at the last 24 months, obviously you see what Russia has been doing in Ukraine, what Israel is doing in Gaza, and the most recent example that you gave is Venezuela and trying to sort of annex about 60% of neighboring Guyana. Is there a feeling that perhaps some of these decades-old conflicts, territorial disputes, are suddenly coming up to the surface in terms of one side who is a participant in these conflicts trying to take advantage of these murky waters, this fog of war?
That's an excellent question, because the political geography that we have right now is actually the legacy of what we have from the Second World War. And despite the fact that the institutions of the United Nations Permanent Security Council is basically frozen in time. As President Erdogan said, the world is beyond five. That's actually a very apt description, because so many countries, such as those permanent members themselves, are no longer the rising powers, yet they have refused to reform the UN Security Council, leading to situations where even a very tragic incident such as the one in Middle East is completely frozen in amber. So I'm afraid that there is a likelihood of Kashmir and Jammu or Ladakh basically metasizing into something of that nature. So meanwhile, we can always look at it from the positive standpoint, because there will be an election that has to be held by September 2024, which is actually quite close or concurrent to the Indian general election. And next year will also be very crucial, because you will have elections in Russia, United States, Taiwan, Indonesia, UK, Japan. So India has to show itself as the most viable and transparent and accountable democracy in light of all these decks of elections that are going on next year.
Okay, and as expected, Pakistan has just come out and saying that they've rejected the ruling by the Indian Supreme Court over the legality of Jammu and Kashmir. Phar Kim Beng, thank you very much for joining us here on Tier 2 World. I enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you.